Really? Come on, come
I
on.
would have sat back
You
and
don't
did
want,
absolutely
you
nothing.
don't want no racist.
Sat back and did absolutely
You don't want no racist.
How many races is there?
And two should have race.
How many races is there?
That means that he still be running.
Running, right, that's a bad word over there.
I'll tell you that.
Hello, Ms. Reyes.
Oh, two minutes.
I'm running for.
I got to
Oh,
go
I
home.
need it.
You wanna buy a motel?
Yeah, to make it home.
Don't do it.
Oh,
Really?
Don't do
How do
it.
you feel about that? Drop thing, like casual drop and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not even,
After what?
I got bigger problems in my area. We just got rid of the marijuana place.
Now, did you
Yeah, so far. I think they can beat us, but so far we got rid of it. And now the mayor wants to put the home. They're paying, they're paying some usually taxes. We're gonna take them off the tax rolls.
Why would you do that?
Put homeless people.
Why would you put them in a hotel? First of all, you're going across through the accident. Somebody's gonna get killed.
Where you think they go before? Oh, listen, what we gonna?
Then-
I'll be asking everybody to vote with me against it.
Oh,
Well,
I'm
that's-
100.
Because
Because I can tell you what they did out in my ward. It was terrible. They said they had people, ask the police department, that's what that. How was the motel out at my house when we had the homeless shelter out? How was, good evening, how are you, sir? I was just telling older Antunes about the situation when we had the homeless shelter out at Pond Lily.
Yes.
And how much of a mess that it was that the city had that. They're now trying to put it out to Route 80, and I just wanted you just to expound a little bit about how it took a lot of police officers off of the street to deal with those situations.
You just had a constant problem with people complaining about drug dealing, shots fired, stolen cars being parked there, and a lot of times investigators, because you guys, performance of heresy, if there's really so doing the investigations, search warrant executions, it took a lot of resources out there with all the, all the calls there.
Where they can be investigating root cause.
Yeah, and your area is like mine, it's at the end of town. That
Absolutely.
means somebody's gotta come all the way out there. I'm in D9.
And not
It's
just that,
forever, you have to drive out there.
If the guy's out at my house, that's almost 5 miles.
but that's what the kids supposed to
That's what is that?
see, you know, what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Section.
So we got it for 800. Just move over the. Come down by
I'm
the
just
side.
fair warning you. That's what I'm doing. That we should
Leave
put
it
that
at
right.
me, I'm already against it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
The second drink about.
Homeland Security, I believe.
Yeah.
That's the way it's about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is, it's a reoccurrence one.
I know, but what do we do?
This is for the courts. Yes, like.
Yeah.
The,
I got it in paper number,
This is a reoccurring one. We did this last time. Yeah.
Here, give it back.
Oh, that's right. That's good.
Yes.
And I didn't have to open my.
You don't have business going on?
Can you get a signature? You know what that means about.
He said, what did you do, ride your bike here?
No,
You
I
out in the
get
public.
upstairs.
You didn't tell me you're not ashamed.
Oh,
You should get some steps.
I gotta get a bike. I drive too much.
Yeah,
We all
well, I
do.
don't know,
You know
bikes
what?
are unsafe for me.
But a lot of people, we don't do our cardio. If we don't do cardio. Yeah, I want to get a bike.
I'm going back to the gym. Now, I can't work my legs, but I can work my upper body.
If I want to give the gym my money, then I ain't gonna go.
I've been giving the gym my money for 2 years.
So, I'm
Yeah.
gonna-
So that's why I said I'm gonna go ahead and work my
See,
upper
if I
body.
buy a bike, when I use it, then
Who's that? You gotta go.
well, I'm gonna come over there and hello.
On your own plan, you say, "Yeah, I don't feel like doing it today."
That's what I'm saying. So sometimes we Yeah. Jessica running things tonight. Jessica got this.
It was.
The Public Safety Committee of the New Haven Board of Aldermen will meet in person at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 15th, 2023, in the Board of Aldermen Chambers located at 165 Church Street, second floor, to hear and act on the following. Order of the Board of Alders of the City of New Haven, authorizing the mayor of the City of New Haven to execute a 3-year contract between the police department and Fusion for software which will enhance the effectiveness of the New Haven Police Department Crime Gun Intelligence Center by executing and integrating in real-time public safety and other technology, including, not limited to, shot spotters, license plates, readers, cash, and public cameras to aid in solving crimes as they are actually and occurring, and for to aid in solving crimes as they are occurring for follow-up investigations. The contract will be funded with ARPA funds and become effective January 1st, 2024. Resolution of the Board of the City of New Haven authorizing acceptance of continuous homeland security grant funds for FY 2022 and approve of a memorandum designing the lower benefit River Valley also of government LCRVCG as the administrator of these meeting funds for the state of Connecticut Department of Emergency Service and Public Protection, DESPP. These items are on file and available for public inspection. The Office of Legislative Services, 165 Church Street, New Haven, per Honorable Wingate, Honorable Smart Clerk. If you need any assessment related accommodations, please contact 203-946-561 or 203-946-512. In accordance with the City of New Haven COVID-19 policy, masks are now optional. Public may send comments to public testimony, New Haven, Connecticut, ct.gov. I will ask my committee to introduce themselves by the Alder Single.
Alder Anthony, Ward 12.
Wingate, Ward 1.
Alder Smith.
Detroit Street, Ward 21.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. I will ask who can speak to item number 1, to people.
Good evening. Good evening.
please state your name and address.
Lieutenant Sean Barr, 76 Brown Hill Road. Milford.
Peter Eskidov, West Street.
Need that time, read your name handed.
So today we're request operation. What this does is a real-time crime center cloud-based software solution which unifies all of our video and technology systems. Database stream, which officers, detectives can monitor crime as it occurs real time and get all information out real time to officers in the street to help stop violent crime in progress as well as property crime. In addition to assisting detectives in their investigative work, follow-up investigations. So what it does is it overlays all technology into an overlay map, which is in a real time there. And it makes it easier for officers and detectives to click on the videos, move the screen on a big map of the city. So if a crime occurs at an intersection, the video automatically pops up, and they can click on the videos and see what is occurring within that area. So the technologies that we integrated into this are ShotSpotter, Milestone, which is our city-run camera system, license plates readers, Star Chase, Pro Phoenix, which is the CAD system in which we are going to be starting to build, and Axon. So for example, when ShotSpotter goes off, it will alert on the screen. The cameras in that area would automatically pop up for the officers to see. So if there's vehicle suspects, things are going on, we can automatically see those things and get those descriptions out to officers as they're responding. We don't have to wait for information to slowly trickle in from community members. PSAP will be handling the community complaints and we'll be able to watch the video. It also overlays our traffic, our license plate readers. So license plates that come in, we can track that and also the city where the license plates are being read, so we can direct officers fleeing travel, so we can quickly make apprehensions. Part of it is the financial impact statement, which we there's a one-time fee of $35,000, and then an annual fee for 3 years of $115,000, and will not exceed $450,000 for the total package to include the software integrations. But our third-party vendor total costs for integrating into QSIS. QSIS in part of our negotiations is not charged to integrate with them, but other companies might. So that's why we have a little bit of a buffer just to make sure we can incorporate those technologies into the system. That package for the 3 years includes 1,500 camera feeds, so we'll be able to incorporate 1,500 live cameras into the real-time crime center. 600 of those cameras will be smart cameras. They'll also create a website portal for community members to register their privately owned cameras with us. So for example, I live on the street, I have a doorbell camera, I can go onto a website. I have a camera here, here's my name and number. If there's a crime, here's how you contact me, so I can share my video with detectives or officers. It saves officers and detectives time during canvases. People are home, they're not home, easy to send out a message, a phone call, and make contact with their information. Additionally, they have the ability to have these cores, and I'll talk about that on the next slide, where businesses can have a core added to their personal business camera system, and they can share the police directly with the police department. So if there's a problem location from the business that they choose to 100% control, purchase a core and install it, we can watch that video outside of the store on public street at any time. They have the choice to turn that on or off at any time. We also have the location of a superphone app, which provides a live view of crimes and conflicts. So community members can share video directly with us. Some accidents and things like that they can choose. There's a link to it, and they send it right to us so we can see directly what's going on. If there's a shooting or crime, community members can share that directly with their intel center. That way we can get the opposite information immediately as they're riding on scene. It increases officer safety as well as safety. Additionally, they have Fusus Alert, which is an Android app or iOS based right to your cell phone. So if you have officers in the field and they're in trouble, they can hit an emergency alert on their phone, which gives them that we know they're in danger, and it pops up as a GPS point on our map, so we can get officers help if they need, without having to get on the radio. They can just hit another button on their phone. That comes with the software as well. So I spoke a little earlier about the core technology. In the top right-hand corner, that's what a core looks like. So these can hold different levels of numbers of cameras that gets installed to the type of camera technology. It plugs in over the internet and shares it with us. So here below is sort of a map of like how it can all connect. You can get city registered cameras, corporations, businesses, cell phones, shopping malls, retailers, surveillance, all coming into one fusion cell, so that we can monitor and track violent crime as it's occurring and get the information out to the officers. Now, there's a community engagement piece part of this. So, we spoke about earlier, there's a website in which they can share their own videos with us, which obviously aids in investigations because we able to access the footage. There's also the business outlet with businesses, and there's also a tip line. So they set up a publicized framework in which the community can send video, pictures of crimes in progress or crimes that have occurred anonymously through this. And it's also up by Tuesday, so they community members can share information with us. We may not want to pick up the phone, call, and give the names. They could send a video of the crime that occurred and allow us to investigate. They also have a text messaging service, so we can send out text messages to groups of people to notify them certain things. It's an add-on feature that they have. The city has something similar, but this also has it as well. Basically, the overarching technology is used throughout the country and as well as internationally in the real-time crime center. We've had raving reviews about the success. Our police department has this technology, and they are solving homicides and getting their homicide crews with help because of this technology. They can't sing the praises high enough. So our detectives, Lieutenant Werner here, and the other detectives have gone up to see their fusion center in action, and we've had many demonstrations from fusion showing us how it works. We decided to go this direction. There was a RFP that went out, and they responded. Actually, the other ones did respond. We did take our due diligence of visiting other sites and locations to make sure that this was the technology for us. Okay.
I'll also open up to questions to the committee. All this,
I'm just wondering, is this small box going to tap into the system that you currently have, or is this new?
Yeah, so that's a core. So if I own a business and have a video system in my store or outside of my store, this plugs right in by a USB cable, and it goes right to the internet and shares the video right with us.
How many of these boxes will you be getting?
So we're going to actually purchase the core. So that's for a business inside, like we like to share. And I have one camera, 5 cameras, 50 cameras, and there's a price per point for each core, depending on the amount of what features that they have.
Thank you.
I got a couple. Can anything you get on these cameras, can that be sent directly to the toll cars or?
So command post, yes. EOC, chief's office, we've set up all the connections for those. Yes. The milestone system for the cameras is already with the officers in the car. And currently our BlueCat system will have those live feeds coming up at shots fired right at their tablets in the cars.
And the price, is there a whole maintenance program for those 3 years?
So that's the total package. So we did negotiate the prices down to this level. That gets all the service and maintenance, that's in that 119.
And if there's any upgrades.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, one thing you stumped me on, explain the smart camera.
So the smart camera, so much like in Boston, after the Boston bombing, the cameras have the ability to look up objects. So we use that, we need to look for a black baseball cap or a red car. And we say, in this area has a red car at this intersection, and it turns our cameras into smart cameras.
You say that people can send in information if there's a crime happening. What about at like 2 o'clock in the morning? Is there someone manning that station that can receive that information and get it out?
Yeah, so they are working on a schedule for the Intel Center. I believe that's going to be going to 3 o'clock in the morning. So they're going to do it every day. There's not people in it. But as we publicize the information on how to send information in, we'll let people know it's not for an emergency, like there's a shooting guy, take a picture and send it, not do anything else. Like more like crimes that may have already occurred that we want us to investigate and make sure that our social campaigns and our marketing toward this is like, you know, it's a 911 call, please.
Yeah.
Please ever call 911. Yeah, first call 911 and send the pictures.
That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
On the same, thank you, Mr. Chair. And this information, what's the time frame of storing this information? How long
For
will it be?
video. So our milestone system stores for 14 days. After 14 days, it starts to erase unless we tell it to save this video from a particular, and then we'll save it, export it, and put it in 10 minutes.
So if there is hypothetically a video that's suspected and need to save for evidence, that would have to be flagged.
Correct. Yeah, and within the crime center, that software is already there, and it's easily pull that and export that and save that.
14 days is time to keep that.
So far, we haven't had any incidents in which I believe that I know of that hasn't been enough time. It's something that we discuss. It's something we can always understand.
Oh, let me go back. Typically, how long an investigation would go for?
Well, it depends. Investigations can take 2 to 3 years. However, typically what happens is this will stay on the time, the Intel Center and the software. It's when there is a crime, we then have to go out and investigate and canvass and do all these things. This brings it all into one, so that all the technology and video is in place where we can export that and save it quickly. So it doesn't take 14 days.
So that officer has to be on top of it to make sure that evidence is vital and need to be saved for.
Yeah, but the workflow currently is that the officers will be working in the Intel Center as these crimes are coming in. They'll export live on scene so that it saves the defenders from doing that the next day or 2 days later. Those packets will be done within a day because they'll be exported live.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I have not a question, I have a comment. Basically, I'm very impressed with this technology, and I think it really will assist in keeping, our citizens safe. And it's just amazing what technology can do now. And I'm very impressed with it.
I have a question. No problem.
You spoke based on Harvard success rate. I'd like to hear from Lieutenant Warner.
Sure.
Lieutenant Warner, I just want to know, what was your bill on how Harvard success rate went?
In relation to the cameras.
Yes.
We got to go up there and actually do an operation with Hartford and see their real-time crime center. And it just, it's very effective, especially when you have somebody who knows how to work all the cameras and all the technology. What we're talking about here is advanced technology being integrated together. And they have people there that are working that. watching crimes happen, real time, getting it out to the police officers and making stops as it happens.
Thank you.
I have a question, and this may be a crazy question, but is this any way like as this real time is coming in, right, and people call, right? Because some people could be calling 911, right? Does this technology help with that?
Yeah, so we're integrating with our CAD and RMS system. So as we're going to be popping up on the screens and alert officers and bringing up cameras. So a lot of it is from calls. So there's not like a shot spotter activation or something that's triggering it. CAD, these are will be triggering the event, which will then activate the piece to the Intel Center. We have the same radio channels, so there's open communication between both of us.
So it wasn't principles.
Not at all. Okay. And just to add on to it, sir, if a call comes into 911 right now and we're in the real-time crime center, we will have to like go look and see if we have a city camera there right now, and then click on the camera and then try to play it back. And you know, that takes a period of time while that's happening. With Fusus, we can just click on the camera and it'll come right up, and that's what makes the technology so helpful, because that process to find the camera and then go back just takes time that is critical during an incident, and Fusus will allow us to just click and go to that incident.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for doing what y'all do and looking towards the future for the technology on the side of these crimes. Keep it safer. You have any?
Just a quick comment that I'd like to make. Thanks to lieutenants for the presentation. So a testimonial just from last week, I was talking to a supervisor from Patel, and they talked about how there was an incident, and instead of just depending on the radio's transmission from the officer, they actually were able to find the vehicle and find the exact description. So that is, you know, from a community standpoint, that mitigates the risk of an officer, even if it's the smallest percentage, of stopping someone that wasn't involved in a crime just because they had that car description in that area. So those are things that we want to be mindful of. So that's what we're trying to reduce, is stopping anyone that is not involved in crime, right, at all. But so that's something that I really wanted to point out. And you know, from another standpoint of community, people may not necessarily talk to the detectives or officers on scene, but they are willing to cooperate and they want to pass that information along. And I think this right here will give them a chance to get the information without interacting with them on scene, and even if they're not home or if they're at work and are available. So great technology, we can definitely put this to use.
Thank you. Alder Smith, Chief Cologne was my man. I think I just want to say that. Okay. But thank you for all that you do. The cost, like, are y'all gonna market to the stores that can have this? Are y'all gonna like go out and put a, you know, put something in the mailbox?
So we're developing a plan now how we market it through our social media, take the word out.
Okay.
Yeah, get the word out there, technology, how we can assist in getting that technology.
Okay. Thank you. Alder.
Since that question came up, and is there any way to really like grant and assist in these businesses, you know, this purchase of this box for them to get more friendlier for them to use than having to purchase this box all out, because the evidence or the information will be coming back to the court. So
Yes, yeah, we could always look at conversations that we could provide a few of them, provide them out, some of them in detail to see how we.
that would be able to have them at no cost, you know, for a few months. So they can look into a grant to assist in the purchasing of those boxes, to, you know, having the location that you
think would be appropriate at the business location?
I'm sorry. Do we know the cost?
A few $100s.
Okay.
If you have like 50 cameras, it gets more expensive, but those are for like larger businesses, hospitals, things like that.
All the street, that's
Yeah, well, it's kind of a question, but, one of the residents in my ward, she had contacted me. She's trying to get a camera put at the corner of, Henry and Orchard Street. And, she called me like, maybe like 2, 3 weeks ago. And now with this incident just happened, that she called me back. And she's saying, see if there was cameras there. And she said she was on the committee for, one of the management teams over a year ago. I think she said further than that, before COVID, and they were trying to get a camera there. So when I called, they were saying that she has to initiate it. And she was saying that she doesn't have a problem with that. She's saying she feels that she feel more safer if the camera is on that corner to capture some of the activity or to combat and stop. Basically, they know that there's a camera there, and she said that they would go away from there. So my question is, okay, how quickly, would they be able to get the cameras put, I guess with the light or whatever?
So there's an ongoing capital infrastructure project. Saying its item is on the list.
Okay, for that corner? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening.
So we got the Homeland Security, that will be coming up.
Thank you to my colleagues for being half an hour, not 3 hours.
I'll be honest with you, we like to thank you, keep the public safety time and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, please, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Alders, Rick Fontana, 343 Beach Street.
Floor is yours.
Good evening. How's
It's going good, yeah, it's going good.
Alder Smith, good to see you. How's that knee doing? All right.
I'm having a block party in my ward on Sunday, but that's gonna come up between 12 and 5.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just try and be responsible for the weather. Okay, so if the weather's good, you just give me a call, say thank you.
Meeting's over.
Let's go. Meeting's over. I already got the request.
Okay, what's up? All right, okay.
All right, so again, good evening. This is, so as you know, we were on a lot of grant funding through, federal funding through through the state of Connecticut, through the local government. This happens to be a part of the Homeland Security Company. We have always had this grant, and it's what it's called. It's really an MOA, a memorandum of agreement, to say that the Lower River Valley will serve as the fiduciary to manage the funds that are regional in nature. And they come, if you think about the funding, they pay for a lot of the bigger things that departments don't want to buy that have one. To 30 counties that cover from the Housatonic River up to the Connecticut River. In prior years, the mayor has just signed this, and in place there is a in the Code of Ordinances under section 11.5, authority of the mayor to cooperate with governmental units. And the mayor has always signed this every year. Now they're asking us for a specific resolution that says the mayor has been given the authority by the governing body. So although we've been doing this since 2007,
Yes, I saw this. I was like, we did this before.
they want it to be a new process.
Okay.
So just a matter of information. This is this is fiscal year 21 and 22, and it's really, as years have gone on, this funding was 1.7 million back in 2008, 9, 10. As time has gone on, the funding has gotten lower. So when you look at it this year, it's $480,000. So it has gone down, and it is for, we meet monthly. It's called the Regional Emergency Planning Team, the REPT. I represent the mayor on that. And the funding is, as you know, generated from the feds down to the state, down to the regions. So we all have a seat at the table. And we look at what we need together. As one of the biggest purchases we did make was a Bearcat, which is the armored vehicle. We have one of those out in North Haven as well as New Haven. And on top of this money is also a significant amount of funding. About 20% of this number goes to New Haven, as with the vice units that are north of the boundary. So they are funded with this as well. There's no financial impact to the city whatsoever. This is really just an agreement to say the mayor can enter into this agreement with the River Cog. So it's the Lower River Valley Council of Governments would actually manage the funding for us. We don't touch the money. We don't see it. If we buy something, they pay for it and they give us the product. We take custodial ownership. So it really is, it's not a no cost there. It's really just to say we agree to operate as a region, and it authorizes the mayor to enter into those agreements with the other as 130 region.
Thank you. I have no questions. Are there any questions?
Thank you. My question is, you said under City Ordinance 11-5, you already got that. What do we have to do again?
So, because that's a good question. So what happened here was because we would send the ordinance and we would attach it to the mayor's signature. And they looked at it and they said, well, this ordinance was established in 1950 and then updated in 1989. But the Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security didn't come into effect until shortly after 9/11, so in 2002. So it's been okay for years, but then they said, look, we want a special resolution from the governing body. We don't feel that this covers because it's so old in nature. So rather than argue the point, I'm here today. Sitting next to my boss. It's kind of what the state has asked us to do.
Would it be feasible if we just change the date of it, just doing a whole new resolution?
I think in order to change an ordinance, I'm not really sure of the process of that, but these are really, we'd like to get this done for October 1st. So that might take a little bit longer, but maybe going forward, it might not be a bad idea. This is very new for us. The mayor is just every year signing it because it's really just agreeing that we're going to get money and it's not cost us anything.
I'm not saying change the date. What I'm saying is make a change on the date. You're saying that the one that was given is used. And we can just put an update on it to 2023 so that it can move, because he already has the authority. So it's like, what are we doing this all over again, of giving him the authority again when he already had the authority?
Yep, so it is in fact, they've asked for a resolution of the governing body. This is an ordinance, and, from a legal standpoint, I'm sure we can look at it with Corporation Counsel, but my thought is, we tried to explain this, and they said, just your governing body.
I think when it originally was made an ordinance, there had to be a resolution at the time. So it would, I mean, just to put us through the steps all over again, just reinstitute it, something simple.
And, you know, my suggestion would be is, you know, we do this process now. Just move it because we still have time, right? It's August. We could look into it,
Yeah.
right? We reach out to council, we reach out to council. I can also ask, you know, how what the process is and around that, you know, if we need to change dates, we can change dates. And what that look like even before it goes to the full 30 that has to go on. So we accept this tonight, we move it tonight, and we'll do all the work around it.
Yeah,
Fair enough?
because it is gonna come up every year. So this is an,
Yeah.
this is an
Yeah, I mean,
annual.
this is my, honestly, this is my second run of public safety chair, and I've seen this a couple of times. We just did this, right? So,
Well, the other was the emergency management performance grant, so that's a different grant than this one is. So again, this is really not a grant, it is a grant, but the grant comes into the region. The city is just allowing the Lower River Valley to serve as the fiduciary to manage the money.
yeah, I mean, we don't want to duplicate services, that's one thing we say, and we're looking at it, we have to take a step back and move forward, but thank you for your presentation. Thank you. You did a very good job, Mr. Boss. He's a keeper.
Mr. Chair, before Mr. I'm just trying to wrap this up. So, to move this forward, so you're asking, or he is asking for a resolution. to move this forward.
Yeah, it would be a resolution to say that the governing body authorizes the mayor to enter into this memorandum of agreement.
And that was for the folio.
That would fulfill it. Yes.
Thank you.
And because it is 2 years, it's kind of like one of those, you know, up front burner for October 1st. So I'm just, it'd be great.
They may not,
Right.
they may not. But we will find out, right? Right, because the MOA is an MOA. Once you have an MOA and it's signed, you're right, that can be signed for 50 years. You got to go back. It can be signed for a day, you have to go back. So we got to do some research on the MOA agreement, right? That look like we able to sign on that. Because next year you can just sign.
Yeah. And now they're saying if the mayor does stay in place, it is that particular mayor, we may not have to come back every year.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
when he leaves,
Yes, no, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, the MOA bonded to that particular, right?
yeah, makes sense.
No, I get it. I get it. That's why I'm here.
Because, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
No, thank you. Any more questions from the committee before, let them go? Okay, see you now. Thank you.
Thank you.
8 minutes.
Thank you very kindly.
Have a good evening.
You You too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So at this time, I would ask if anyone from the public like to speak on these items on once or twice, on 3 times, I will take them.
Make a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I would like a motion to bring on item 1.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve number 1, known as LN 2023-042.
Second.
Discussion. No, see another discussion?
Mr. Chair, I think this grant is a good idea for bringing this technology to the department. And this will alleviate a lot of from the testimony, a lot of footwork, on the boots, on the ground investigation, and this will be a real time. And since it's a grant, I'm all in favor.
Thank you. Item one, all's in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Extension? The item moves. Can I get a motion for a second?
I make a motion that we accept, move this resolution on. I think that, there's a need for it in, it's working. So,
Someone has to second.
Second.
Discussion. Alder. Alder. Streeter, you have the floor.
well, yeah, I was saying, we move it.
Oh, I apologize. Alder Streeter, I take that back. I'm going to my coach first. Alder Hunter Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I personally think that we really need to, bring this to Mr. Lucas to really find out if we could just make simple changes. Because once the resolution is made, I believe it's made, and the ordinance is made. And I think we need more clarity on which way that we need to move with this.
So we're in discussion, so people can.
Right.
I totally agree with you, right, in reference to talking to others. And even if we gotta talk to council, I don't think we should stop it here. I think we should move it. Then we should move it. That's-
Correct, I agree with that. But I also agree with what Miles said. We should be able to change the date on it because, like you said, that we already had authority to do it. So we update the date. The way he was speaking, if any person about the date itself. Oh, so I feel if we update it and here we have authority to do it, it shouldn't be an issue.
I
But we
totally
should
agree.
move it.
One thing that I put on with all the answers said, if the ordinance states that the mayor has the authority to do so, why do we have to give him the authority again when he already has that authority to do it?
If I may.
Yeah.
Because what I gather or what I heard what it said, or it was in the 50s when it was dated, and we are 89 last update. Or did they looking for, time span where it should be current?
I understand that, but they did this before and got it approved. That's what he said, that the last mayor, it went through with no problems. Then he stated that after every change of a mayor, that you have to have it done. But that's not true, right?
Well, it shouldn't be, he said the mayor, but the current mayor, so it has to be a language saying, not Mayor Elica, the mayor of the city, the city mayor should be. So anyone who's the successor, then, so they're able to do that.
You don't have to do it for each individual mayor. Because you could have a mayor every 2 years or every 4 years.
It should be.
It's all included, it's all dependent on.
Yeah. Be the position of the person.
Exactly.
I could say mayor or elected executive official,
Sure,
whichever,
Yes.
term you want to
language.
use for it, but it should be the position of the person.
So we all saying the same thing. Only thing I'm saying is, as we move it, right, we discuss it, we have the conversations about what we're saying now is the position of the person, what's involved, right? You become it, right? Whatever that look like, right? Whatever that look like, that he or she will be in that position, not her, right? So what my suggestion is we move this forward, we do our work around it, and if we don't like it, we have opportunity to vote it down.
I agree,
We can amend the.
We can amend it on the
Yeah,
floor.
right, I agree to just do that, and that we get all the right information,
That's right.
and especially the resolution, because a resolution should have been made in the beginning in order to do the ordinance, correct? So I think we need to look at the resolution and see what it says. If it's stated that current mayor, then we need to change the language to that any mayor.
And so there'll be an ordinance amendment, and then we have to do some legal work with
Right.
it to get that ordinance amendment completed at that point.
And I think, as I think about, and the dates that Rick was putting out, it was based, I think, on the fact that they didn't come to being until after, you said 2002.
Yes.
And the ordinance, the original ordinance went way back. So they're saying, well, could somebody contest it being applicable in our case? So it may need to be updated, but it's just basically the same thing, rubber stamping, the same thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, I would say, all's in favor, with this condition around it. Say aye. Aye. Any opposed, sustaining? Okay. Anyone would like to change their vote? Anyone would like to vote again? Okay. So I will take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much.
Is that people?